Okay, so it's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed, phone 6 inches from your face, doing that thing we all pretend is networking but is actually just self-inflicted psychological damage on LinkedIn. You scroll past a guy from college announcing he made partner, then another guy, excited to share that he sold his startup, then someone posting from a balcony in Italy with a caption like, "Grateful for the journey." Oh, shut up, Ethan. Meanwhile, you're in a t-shirt with a hole in it, trying to remember whether you paid your electric bill or just made eye contact with it and hoped that counted. And the part that really gets under your skin is this. You did what you were supposed to do. You went to school, you got the job. You try to be responsible. You click skip free trial like a war hero. And somehow, money still feels like a hostage negotiator you're losing to. So if you've ever thought, maybe some people just know something I don't, then good, stay with me. And subscribe to Beth Builds Wealth, where personal finance gets funnier, and your spending gets suspicious, and your bank account finally gets a spokesperson. Because today, I want to tell you about a janitor in Vermont who worked ordinary jobs, lived modestly, looked like the least likely millionaire in America, and died with about $8 million. Not because he got lucky, not because he had rich parents, not because he built multiple income streams, which is usually code for annoys everyone at brunch, because he understood something simple, and he stuck with it for a ridiculously long time. His name was Ronald Read, and if you had seen Ronald walking down the street, you would not have thought, there goes a millionaire. You would have thought, that man definitely knows how to split firewood and distrust modern pricing. He wore worn flannel shirts. He drove a second-hand Toyota Yaris. People remembered him wearing coats held together with safety pins. He was so frugal, he parked far away just to avoid paying parking meters. This man had the vibe of someone who would reuse a paper towel and somehow win the argument. He was the first person in his family to graduate from high school. He served in World War II in North Africa, Italy, and the Pacific, then came home and worked at a gas station before later working as a janitor at J.C. Penney. Regular jobs, regular life. No huge salary, no CNBC office tour, no podcast called Sweeping Floors, Scaling Wealth. Then, Ronald Read died in 2014 at age 92. And that's when his town found out that this quiet, frugal, flannel-wearing man had built an estate worth nearly $8 million. He left $4.8 million to Brattleboro Memorial Hospital and $1.2 million to Brooks Memorial Library. Those were the largest gifts either institution had ever received. Imagine finding out the guy everyone thought was just the quiet old janitor with the Yaris had been out investing people in much nicer loafers for decades. That's not a surprise. That's a financial horror movie. And here's why Ronald's story matters. He didn't get rich doing anything that looked impressive. He didn't day trade. He didn't chase hot stocks. He didn't build his brand. He didn't post shirtless sunrise videos about discipline. He read the Wall Street Journal, bought stocks in real companies, and held many of them for a very long time. Reporting on his estate described him as favoring dividend-paying stocks, and later coverage said he owned 95 stocks, including blue-chip names like Procter & Gamble, J.P. Morgan Chase, General Electric, Johnson & Johnson, Dow Chemical, CVS, and J.M. Smucker. That's it. That's the whole scandal. He was patient in a way that would make modern people break out in hives. Barry Ritholtz described him perfectly. Ronald wasn't an active trader. He was an active buyer. He bought, reinvested dividends, and let time do the heavy lifting, which is deeply annoying because we all want the exciting answer. We want wealth to come from some cinematic breakthrough moment, not from a guy in a safety-pinned coat quietly buying Procter & Gamble and then refusing to be interesting about it. But that's exactly the point. Ronald understood that there's a massive difference between looking successful and becoming secure. A car payment can look successful. A portfolio is security. A fancy apartment can look successful. Owning assets is security. A man in a fitted blazer saying, "Big things coming," can look successful. But usually that just means a PDF is coming. Ronald skipped the performance. He went straight for the peace. Quick note, this video is for education and entertainment, not personalized financial advice. I'm sharing Ronald Read's story and general investing concepts, not telling you what to buy. Now, let's talk about the engine behind this. Compound interest. Don't worry, I'm not going to turn this into a hostage situation with a calculator. Here's the simple version. Compound interest means your money earns returns, and then those returns start earning returns too. So if you keep investing, and you keep reinvesting, and you keep waiting, the growth starts building on itself. That's a huge part of how Ronald got rich. He bought stocks, many paid dividends, he reinvested those dividends, he held them for years and years. So his money wasn't just growing, it was growing on top of its own growth. Like if your paycheck had a paycheck. Like if your money developed a work ethic and stopped asking you for direction. Now, the market does not return 10% every year, and nobody should promise that. But Fidelity says the S&P 500 has averaged about 10% annually since 1957, which is why people often use that number in long-term examples. The real lesson isn't the exact number. It's time plus consistency plus reinvestment. That's what Ronald understood. He wasn't asking, "How do I look rich this year?" He was asking, "How do I build something real over decades?" And if you want the deeper compound interest breakdown with actual examples, go click my other video after this one, because this video is about the janitor. And frankly, he earned the screen time. And Ronald wasn't the only ordinary worker who pulled this off. There was also Sylvia Bloom, a legal secretary in New York who worked at the same law firm for 67 years, lived modestly, rode the subway, and quietly built an estate of more than $9 million. According to her family, she often bought smaller amounts of the same stocks her bosses were buying. She left about $8.2 million to scholarships and educational causes. So, no, Ronald wasn't some mystical, one-off woodland capitalist. This pattern is real. Ordinary people, unflashy lives, long time horizons, quiet discipline. And then one day, everyone acts shocked. One of my favorite details about Ronald is that he was a regular at the local hospital cafe, where he'd get coffee and an English muffin with peanut butter. Someone once paid for his meal because they assumed he couldn't afford it. That detail ruins me, because that is how invisible real wealth can be. Not all rich people are trying to look rich. Some are just quietly eating an English muffin while the room completely misreads the situation. That's the lesson. Be like the janitor. Not because joy is illegal, not because you need to start washing Ziploc bags in the sink while whispering about efficiency, not because I want you fighting your thermostat like it's a personal enemy. Be like the janitor because he understood something most people don't. Wealth is not a costume. It's options. It's peace. It's margin. It's the ability to not panic every time life clears its throat. Ronald Read did not build an impressive-looking life. He built a durable one. And durable beats impressive every single time. Because impressive needs an audience. Durable just works. So the next time some guy online posts from a rooftop bar bragging about his lavish lifestyle, remember this. A janitor in Vermont drove a used Yaris, wore coats held together with safety pins, bought solid companies, held them for years, and quietly built an estate worth about $8 million. Then he gave millions to his town. He wasn't trying to impress everybody. He was building something. So no, you do not have to look rich by Friday. You do not have to perform success for strangers. And you definitely do not need a motivational quote over a rented car. You just need to start thoughtfully, at your own pace, and based on your own situation. And if you want the full compound interest walkthrough after this, go watch my video that breaks it down with an example. But for now, be like the janitor. And if this video helped you laugh, panic, and reconsider at least 3 of your current purchases, subscribe to Beth Builds Wealth, because around here, we build wealth the boring way and make it way more fun than it should be. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. See you there!